Hey guys, this is Mike with Redneck Politics, where real American voices matter. I did a video earlier, and I kind of promised to do this today, and so we're going to be talking about Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump and some of the conspiracies that are behind all this. But I kind of wanted to take you back a little, well, actually a lot further. An explosive thing has come out about the files, and that is that they have discovered that there are some files that are not in the files they received, but it shows almost like a receipt, almost like a index of cards, and it's not looking good at all. Him and Jeffrey Epstein were involved with a 13-year-old who used the last name Johnson, which was a fake name, and in 2016, when Trump was trying, to get voted in as president, and the Access Hollywood stuff had just come out right before that, and now the representative for this young lady pretty much put it out there, if they don't get cooperation. And what ended up happening is the girl got so scared and so fearful, it was almost like she dropped off the face of the earth. And so, people know she's alive. It's just really nobody, I don't think, has talked to her since, but maybe that's because a lot of this now is coming to light. She did testify to the FBI, questioning 4 different times about this accusation that Epstein and Trump, possibly Trump by himself, sexually assaulting a young lady and then slapping her in the head. So it's like this, man. Trump, he don't want to get caught for any of this. He don't want no consequences behind this. So he's done everything that he has been able to do to bring all this to a screeching halt, to make it harder and harder to have the Epstein files released, putting out so many different FBI agents to go through all these files and redact anything that's got his name on it or anything associated with him, because he knew there were some things in these files. Well, they didn't get everything at all, and now the Congress has gotten a hold of them. Things are kind of all breaking loose right now. I mean, this is a serious thing, that now you have Trump tied into a girl who says specifically that Trump is the one that did it. It's like I've said in my other videos, we couldn't prove anything. Nobody had the proof at this moment until maybe now that he did anything wrong. Nobody, I don't think nobody has actually said that, but I've known this man for a long time, and this man's father ball into real estate in one of the biggest cities we have here in the United States, New York, and he acquired many properties, and he became vastly wealthy. And so this is the atmosphere that Trump grew up in. Even out of all of his siblings, he was the one that stood out and decided to go into the business with his dad, Fred, instead of the other ones. The other ones really didn't even participate in it. And over those years, you know, when Trump first started out on his own, his daddy gave him a lot of money, and he kind of squandered that shit away. You know, and he started to, at that time, learn how to really negotiate, manipulate, and lie to get what he needs. And so that's been his MO all his life, pretty much. But Trump and Epstein met years and years and years ago. I don't even know the actual, I'm not even sure anybody knows the actual date. But they were best friends, and they both claimed for over 10 years they were best friends. And it makes sense that they were, because Jeffrey Epstein was a playboy with billions of dollars, and Trump was a playboy who was wishing to have billions of dollars. So that's, you know, they become acquainted, and it's kind of hard not to know that your best friend is involved in some pedophile shit at the highest seats. You know, you think that he would have noticed those things throughout his knowing Jeffrey Epstein, and he didn't. He really kind of silently backed away and hoped like hell he wasn't going to get charged with anything, because when him and Epstein started hanging out, you know, I'm sure the subject come up one day about young girls, and I like them young too, and how can we get them, how can we exploit them, how can we sexually assault them. We've got all the money in the world, we just need to be able to figure out how to do it and get away with it, basically. I do not think Trump's hands are clean from any of this. I've always said that, you know, if you stand out front of that barbershop long enough, you're going to get a fucking haircut. And I do believe that Trump has gotten quite a few haircuts that he's now trying desperately to cover up. I mean, his ratings right now are in the toilet. And that's just sitting where we're at today. If he does anything more stupid than what he's been doing, that's liable to drop even further as we go, especially as they are finding more and more and more stuff out in this Epstein files that ties into Donald Trump. And you know, for everybody who was associated with Jeffrey Epstein, they all need to be investigated by law enforcement, every one of them, to see if they have committed a crime or were involved in a conspiracy to commit a crime. And let's start having some fucking real justice around here, instead of having to look across the water and expect them to bring justice for our victims, and it's not even their fucking country. I mean, there's no other reason to hide what you're hiding unless you're trying to hide. But with this new law that even Trump signed it into law, you know, they have to release all this information. They cannot hold this shit back. You know, so it's going to be interesting to see how they move on from this point. But even with Trump, he's always been that way. He's always chased the little young skirts. I don't think we quite know how young, but I promise you, him being Jeffrey Epstein's best friend for 10 years and running through the streets of New York City on weekend nights, partying, having fun, riding limos, chasing women. y'all would know what each other was doing. And trust me, Trump does love them women just as much as Epstein does. How many times do you think Trump actually turned any of that down? There's been stories about one girl who said that he slapped her hand when she went to grab his bare penis that he had out. And he made the comment, "You don't touch me without a glove." Only Trump would say something about that, because Trump has this phobia germ kind of bullshit, way of thinking. But when Jeffrey and Epstein were running, there was another guy that was brought in, that was introduced, and he become a part of the crowd, and that was Brunel. And he was involved in young girls by the way of fashion shows and modeling, that he would actually, shuffle to Epstein. They just had this organized thing going. And Trump was he was at this time running the Miss Teen pageants and also Miss America. And then Jeffrey Epstein was tied in with Lesnar on Victoria's Secrets. Do you see the connection here? Trump and Epstein, yes, had a falling out. But they had a falling out because Trump stabbed him in the fucking back over a deal. A deal that he called upon Trump for advice. And Trump, in turn, went behind his back, bought the place, and then turned around and sold it for a tidy profit of like $49 million or some shit like that. So yeah, there was a falling out. And yes, I do believe that Trump is the one that called the prosecutors in South Florida, the police, the very first time. They dropped a dime on Epstein, because Epstein was now Trump's most hated. They hated each other because of the real estate deal. Epstein run his mouth to everybody, telling everybody about what Trump is and what he's doing. He's a scum, he's a piece of shit, just all that, and Trump had to have that stopped. And so I believe that's where, because even I think one of the detectives or the sheriff down in Florida even stipulated that. But, they had their falling out. Epstein got in trouble, got the sweetheart deal. Now he's a convicted sex offender, and he's only had to do 13 months in prison. So then he gets out and he picks up right where he left off. Matter of fact, I don't even think he ever fucking stopped. And Trump had to keep his distance from him while he's in the White House so it don't look bad. He's already worried about the past as it is. And so therefore, I don't think anybody died by their own hands. I think Epstein was shut the fuck up, and they took him out, and I really believe it comes from the highest courts. The highest seats in office. Because that man had more motivation than anybody else, any reason at all, than Donald Trump against Epstein. So I believe he turned him in when he did in the early 2000s. I believe that this man dying wasn't no harming himself. Now, what's fixing to come about with these files and it revealing even more and more as we go, guys, you're going to have to ask yourself basically if you think this man is guilty. I don't think we'll ever have Trump in front of a court of law. I don't think he'll ever pay for any of this whatsoever. But do we want to keep associating and having a man like that in our White House? You know, we all have futures ourselves. And now you've got a 34 felony convicted president. You also have a president who has been accused of one of the worst fucking crimes you can be accused of, and that's being a pedophile. This is the president of the United States, people. Renel, he got arrested in 2020. The French government got him. And with that being said, they found that he harmed himself too. Maybe they were feeling guilty. I don't know. I don't think that way with Epstein. Epstein in the early 2000s got out of this shit with just a slap on the wrist, where any other man would have got 30 years to life for this shit. But he got a little, spat on the hand then. He's even got more money, more connections, more prestige now than he did even then. He got the money for the best fucking lawyers there are. Do you actually think this man's going to go in and commit fucking suicide when he's filthy beyond all means? And if you found him, guilty of anything, he'll do his time. If you don't, he'll go live on that fucking island, or would have. This is from people being quiet. This is from our Congress being quiet and allowing Trump to do some of the most childish, some of the most harebrained decisions I've ever even seen from a president. We've always looked up our president more than that. And this guy here, he just... You have to look in amazement and just go, wow. Even the thing that was on last night, the State of the Union address, the best parts about that was these people receiving their golden medals. Anyone who was there that did something, especially for that, they weren't selfish. They risked their own selves. Just like the helicopter pilot that flew them in that to get in Venezuela that night. Guys, I'm sure I'm missing 100 things, but basically Trump and Epstein had been hanging out for so many years it wasn't funny. They knew everything there was to know about each other, especially when it came to the women. When Trump was in office, he could just not, the first time, could not just say, I'm going to pardon this guy here. But he got it to where Alex Acosta got a sentence that was so fucking good, and I'm not even sure how much money was passed hands that way, But everything's a grift. It's all a grift, and we're going to start holding these people to their feet to the fire. We need these type of people that are in it just for themselves to get to kicking, stepping, get gone, do something. And let's put people in there that really want to come in. These younger generations, they want to govern. Let them govern, man. Right now, you got all these complacent politicians in there, though a Democrat or independent. They're old now. They're set in their ways. They're not going to change their opinion for anybody because there's more ego. I mean, they've gotten so comfortable. You're supposed to be there for the people. And I think they have forgotten that. But guys, if you like this kind of content, hit that alert bell. Hit that like for me. And please hit that subscribe, because I'm going to keep bringing it real to you every time. We appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good day. Thank you. See you next time.